Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving into something super important: how to ask for help in Dari, the main language spoken in Afghanistan.
And get this, we're going to do it fast. We're going to build up from a word that I promise you already know.
That's right. So whether you're a first responder, a fearless traveler, or just curious, this is going to be your go-to phrase for any emergency. So you ready? Let's jump in.
So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll kick things off with your very first word. Then we'll learn the most critical noun for any medical situation, what they call the house of healing.
And from there, we'll actually build a full question, get one little grammar rule down, and then, the best part, we'll see how it all works in the real world.
Yep, it's a straight shot from knowing nothing to having a complete, potentially life-saving sentence.
You know, the absolute best way to jump into a new language is to look for what's familiar, words that are shared between cultures. Think of them like freebies for your brain.
A language hack. I am all about a good hack, so what's the word?
Well, let's start right here. In any kind of emergency, this is probably one of the first things you'd be looking for, right? An ambulance.
And guess what it is in Dari? It's...
Ambulance.
No way! That's it. It's literally the same word. It is. The pronunciation is almost exactly the same. This is what you call a cognate, a word that's shared. And just like that, boom, you know your first essential word in Dari. That's a win right out of the gate. Okay, so now that you've got that confidence boost, let's learn the most important new word you'll probably need. Because if there's no ambulance in sight, you're definitely going to need to find a hospital. And that word is Shifakhana. Let's break it down together. Sha-fa-ka-na. Now, that ka sound is probably the trickiest part for English speakers. It's a soft sound from the back of your throat, kind of like you're gently clearing it. Ka. Shifakhana.
Shifakhana. You know, the fact that it literally means house of healing is, well, it's just beautiful. And honestly, it makes it so much easier to remember. A house for healing. Shifakhana. Okay, I think I've got that.
Great. So you've got the noun. Now we have to build a question around it. And this brings us to our first and really our most important grammar rule in Dari. See, in English, we say, where is the hospital? The verb is right there in the middle. Well, in Dari, the verb gets kicked all the way to the end of the sentence. So to ask, where is the hospital, we just flip our English structure around. You start with the place itself, Shifakhana.
Okay, Shifakhana. Easy enough.
Then you pop in the word for where, which is kuja.
Shifakhana kuja.
And you finish it off with the verb for is, which is ust.
So, Shifakhana kuja ast.
You got it! Shifakhana kuja ast, that is a perfect, grammatically correct, and incredibly useful sentence in Dari. You just did it.
Wow, that actually feels really good. It's logical when you see it laid out like that. Shifakhana kuja ast. I feel like I could actually go out and use that right now.
Awesome. And I'm glad you feel that way because we're about to add one tiny little detail that's going to make you sound even better. It all boils down to a simple question. Are you asking about a thing or are you asking about a person? Okay, so here's the rule, and it's a game changer. For a thing or a place like an ambulance or a hospital, you use asked. Ambulance kuja asked. Simple. But if you're looking for a person and you want to ask, where are you? You just add a little I sound at the end. It becomes asti. So you'd say, kuja asti. Whoa, hang on. So that one little I sound at the end changes the whole meaning from where is it to where are you? That is a huge difference packed into a tiny sound. It is, and it's so important to get it right. So let's do a quick pop quiz. Ben, and all of you watching at home, you're looking for your hotel. It's a place. Which one do you use? Asked or asti? You use asked. That's right, because a hotel is a place. A thing. You'd ask, hotel kuja ast.
Okay, got it. Hotel's a thing, so it gets asked. Makes sense.
Perfect. Okay, round two. Picture this. You've been separated from your friend or your local partner. You're trying to find them. What are you going to call out? Asked or asti? You got it. It's asti. Because you're asking a person, where are you? Kuja asti.
Kuja asti. Right, because I'm talking to a person. To you. Okay, that makes perfect sense now.
All right, you have officially got all the pieces of the puzzle. So now, let's put it all together and see how this works in the real world. As a paramedic, I can tell you, being clear when you're under pressure is everything, and these phrases are designed for exactly that. So, scenario number one. You show up to a chaotic scene. You need to find your unit fast. You can go up to a local police officer and say, Salam, ambulance kuja ast?
Starting with salam, just a simple hello, is a small sign of respect that goes a really long way, especially in a stressful situation.
Okay, what if you're actually with a patient? Great question. That's scenario 2. You're helping someone who's injured and you need to get them to a hospital now. You can turn to a bystander who looks helpful and ask, Tashakur, Shifakhana kuja ast. Using tashakur, thank you, is a really polite way to get their attention before you ask for that crucial info.
And finally, scenario 3. Let's say you're in a crowded market, you've lost your local partner, and you need to find them. This is where that tiny I is absolutely vital. You call out, Kuja asti, where are you? If you used ast here, people would just be confused. But asti is a direct call to a person.
And that really could be the difference between finding them quickly or being totally lost.
Absolutely. So let's just do a quick recap of your new Dari toolkit. You started with a word you already knew, ambulance.
Then you learned that beautiful essential noun, Shifakhana, the house of healing.
You built the key question, Kuja ast, where is?
And you totally nailed the critical difference. Ast for things and asti for you.
In just a couple of minutes, you've literally gone from 0 to being able to navigate a super critical situation in a new language. And this is so much more than just memorizing words, right? It's about building confidence and knowing you can ask for help when it really, really matters.
It's really empowering, for real. Just knowing you have these phrases in your back pocket, it completely changes how you'd feel about going to a new place.
It really does. You've built the foundation, and now you're ready for more. So the question we want to leave you with is this. Now that you can ask where something is, what's the next phrase you want to get down?
Oh, for me, it's got to be, I need help. But I guess that's for next time.
That is an excellent choice. Thanks so much for joining us.